Basmaam, Lawad, Lamproskadus, Haramlak, Amin. I ask your permission to speak in English. Before I begin introducing myself, let us stand for 1 minute and remember the heroes who gave their lives keeping our country from foreign invaders. Thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Summra Akale. I am a 7th grader in Loganville Middle School, Georgia. I wrote a fiction book called Espionage Teens when I was 9 years old. In the past 2 years, I have donated over 200 books to the Ethiopian community in Africa, North America, and Canada. I wrote 12 articles which may refer in Ethiopian websites and some magazines, or contact me through EHSNA to send you the article. My favorites are I Learned From You What It Means, Freedom of Speech, about Malala, Afghan girl who was shot by the Taliban. Teachers of Light and Darkness, my experience in school. We kids of this nation, think what we can do. Visions of Unity, observation of listening and asking my family about unity. Do we know Robinson, one of the founders of the Ethiopian Air Force? The 20 Lights, the murdered children in the elementary school in Connecticut. I have 2 reasons to write about the 2 articles recently. I want to learn our history, to be the mentor for my young Ethiopian brothers and sisters, to read and write about the history, to be proud of who we are and teach our American friends. My first article is I Am a Woman. My second article is Courageousness versus Greediness. This is a short biography of Empress Taitu. Empress Taitu said, I am a woman. I do not like war. However, I would rather die rather than accepting your deal. If it is your wish, start the war next week. Nobody is afraid. We will see when you turn into action. Don't ever think that we are not willing to sacrifice our comfort and die for our country. Giving one's life for the country is an honorable death. I do not want to keep you here. It is getting dark. I am sure you have a lot of things to do to put your threats into action. In 1889, she was crowned Empress Taitu, following the coronation of her husband, Menelik II, as Emperor of Ethiopia. Empress Taitu was more educated than most of the contemporary men and the women alike. As the saying goes, behind every successful leader, there is a strong and supportive woman and partner. Empress Taitu was one such of a woman. She was a supporter of her husband's mission and vision and always at his side to support and render her honest opinion to the emperor. Empress Taitu has always played very important roles in the Battle of Adwa. In the 1885 to 1896 war with Italy, the empress galvanized the nation, brought her own fighters, 3,000 plus strong, and joined other leaders from the various parts of the empire. Needless to say, Ethiopia defeated Italy and defended herself and became the only African nation to ever defeat a strong European power. This defeat not only caused the downfall of the Italian government, but also became the early symbol of freedom for the colonized and oppressed people everywhere, as well as hope and pride to people of color around the world. Seed saluted Empress Taitu for her determination and struggle to defend Ethiopia, for being a role model to women everywhere, and for promoting and advancing the interests of Ethiopia of the time, and for all of her positive attributes. Taitu is acknowledged to have wielded considerable political power as the wife of Menelik, both before and after they were crowned emperor and empress in 1889. She led the conservation faction at court that resisted the modernists and progressives who wanted to develop Ethiopia along Western lines and bring modernity to the country. Deeply suspicious of European intentions toward Ethiopia, she was a key player in the conflict over the Treaty of Wuchale with Italy, in which the Italian version made Ethiopia an Italian protectorate while the Amharic version did not do so. The empress held a hard line against the Italians, and when talks eventually broke down, Italy invaded the empire from its Eritrean colony. She marched north with the emperor and the imperial army, commanding a force of cannoneers at the historic Battle of Adwa, which resulted in a humiliating defeat for Italy in March 1896. This article is written by Summra Akale. My resources are Ethioseed and Wikipedia. When we went to war with Italy, there was reasons of greed and courage to fight for which is right. This shows Ethiopian pride and devotion to their country. The main goals for Italy's invasions was to get land for unemployed Italians and get more mineral resources since they were greatly affected by the Great Depression. Also, the Treaty of Wuchale had some flaws that the other countries recognized before the war. When they attacked Abyssinia, they were unsuccessful at the Battle of Adwa in 1896. The Italians' pride was destroyed, since they have never expected to be defeated by a backward army that Abyssinia had. Finally, the Italians remained in Eritrea, but Eritrea was not happy that Menelik didn't push the Italians out of their country for good. But after the devastating war, Italian politicians were hard at work to be friends with Abyssinia. Then Mussolini finally got a treaty of friendship for Italy by Haile Selassie in 1928. But little did Haile Selassie know that they were planning an invasion in Abyssinia. Then in December of 1934, Mussolini accused Abyssinia of aggression at an oasis called Walwal. Mussolini sent his troops in Somaliland and Eritrea to attack Abyssinia. Then a year later, in October, the Italian army invaded Abyssinia. The Abyssinian army couldn't defeat the Italian army since their weapons were World War style, not World War II. For the first time, Italy used mustard gas and armored vehicles. Then Addis Ababa, Abyssinia fell to the Italians in May 1936. Next, Haile Selassie was removed from the throne, and the King of Italy, Victor Emmanuel, took power. Then Italy made Somaliland, Eritrea, and Abyssinia unite under the name Italian East Africa. Then Haile Selassie made an impacting speech to the League of Nations in Geneva that we Ethiopians needed international aid. We won't forget Joe Robinson, who did help us fight the war against fascist Italy with the help of Ethiopian Air Force. Then on June 11, 1936, Grazani replaced Badogo, who commanded forces in the war. Still, Ethiopia was resistant to these changes. The Committee of Unity and Collaboration tried to assassinate Grazani, which didn't work out, but the colonial authorities executed 30,000 young, educated people of Ethiopia. Finally, Rome appointed a new governor with more flexible ideas. The Italians sided with the non-Christian Oromo, Somali, and other Muslims. Wanted to isolate the Amhara, people who supported Haile Selassie. Then a revolt broke out in Gojam, involving the young educated people who tried to assassinate Grazani. So the British and Haile Selassie reached an agreement to cooperate with them instead of Italy. So the indigenous people and the resistance army worked with the British in their headquarters and established a plan with Selassie under control. Finally, we kicked Italy out for good in May 5, 1941. We Ethiopians are poor, but we are smart, self-confident, love our country, and resilient to Ethiopian enemies. This article is written by Summra Akale. My resources are Sa History, History Learning Site, and Mongai Bay. Thank you. May God bless you, and may God bless Ethiopia. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, EHSNA, for all your time.